Hey guys, welcome back to the Power Play on WDSR Student Radio here at the lovely and beautiful Duquesne University. Again, make sure you're following us on Twitter. Our handle is at the Power Play 14, and we are live tweeting the show, and we will be giving constant updates throughout the week as well. Hopefully, still working on that, but we're getting there. We're getting there. All right, so I know we touched on injuries a little bit in the last segment, but just between the Detroit and the Penguins matchup, if the playoffs were to start today. But there are also a lot of other injuries going around the league right now that I think are worth mentioning. And Daisy, I don't know if you want to take this one away. I know we have a list of injuries pulled up right now, and for some of these teams, it is not looking so great.
Well, currently, what I wasn't aware of, this was updated on the 30th, that Roberto Luongo did not travel on the Panthers road trip. They had a 2-game road trip to New Jersey and to Long Island, and it was reported by the Miami Herald. He was credited with the loss on Thursday, the 27th, I believe, against the Canes, but he left during the first period with an upper body injury. What do you guys think about that? Are they still fighting, or is there no chance?
I'm just gonna say there's no chance.
No chance?
Maybe no chance of advancing if they make the playoffs. They would not go far into the playoffs even if they would make it.
Florida will not make the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'm gonna be the hammer on that one and say that Florida is not making the playoffs. I think they have run out of time.
And the other injury that I had pulled up to start with, we touched on it a little bit. Datsyuk, he skated yesterday. Indicated he'd skate in the morning, and there was a chance that he could have played last night against the Bruins, but he did not play Wednesday night. And we obviously touched on that being a big issue for them, especially going into the playoffs and possibly being set to play against the Penguins, if that becomes a thing. So that was the other main injury that I had.
Yeah, that's going to be
up.
That's, and not just because it's Pavel Datsyuk, but it's also because of the other injuries that Detroit has right now that I think makes that a little bit more worrisome for the Red Wings right now. But Detroit's got a lot of almost kind of pre-planning and working things out to do before the playoffs start, especially if they don't see Datsyuk return to the lineup before then.
Coming in with another injury report here, we have from the 31st, which is just a couple days ago, which I did not know. Before I made my bold call of the Avalanche, Matt Duchene's expected to miss 4 weeks. With only 2 weeks coming to the playoffs, that means they don't see him back till deep in the playoffs. So if Matty Duchene's not playing, that's a whole different game.
Whole different ball.
I mean, he's got 23 goals, 47 assists on the year, 70 points total. He's getting almost 18, 19 minutes a game. He's a giant part of their offense. Without them, that kind of takes away a little of the striking power that the Avs have.
Yeah, but I think if you're going to look at them as matched up against Chicago, I think it becomes a little bit more even then. Because if you got Duchene out on the Colorado side and you've still got Kane out on the Chicago side, I don't know. But you're right, it does change the whole dynamic of that series if that's what it actually turns out to be. And also kind of keeping with the Chicago dynamic, Jonathan Toews is now out on injury.
Yeah, that was quite the hit.
Yeah, especially with having Patrick Kane out as well. I mean, they're the top 2 players that Chicago has right now. And all I can say in response to that is thank God they got Brandon Saad back when they did.
That's very true.
So they're going to be turning to a lot of the other players to kind of help carry this team through the playoffs if neither Kane nor Toews is back in time for the start.
I'm interested to know what Toews' injury even is. Right here, it's only remarked that it's an upper body injury and that he sustained. Oh, it's an arm injury. I didn't see anything. Did he land on his arm funny when Orpik hit him? Maybe.
I have no idea. I know they were debating that hit, whether it was a good hit, and I mean, pretty much all the commentators and everybody was saying that was a good hit, and it looked like a good hit. It just kind of, I think Toews just kind of went down awkwardly, and that's really the only explanation I could venture a guess as far as what happened to him.
I mean, I was watching the game live. I watched the replay a couple times. My roommate at home loves the remote. So he replays everything about 100 times. So we watched that hit multiple times. It was not a dirty hit. It was a legal hit. I mean, come on, Johnny. You know you got to play with your head up there.
That's true.
He just got caught with his head down. And I think the reason that it ended up being this bad is, Toews really, he's not a huge guy. I mean, he's 6'2", 208. He's not a very big guy, and Brooks Orpik is a truck. I mean, when he's coming at you, he had you lined up, and honestly, I think it's a shoulder. It kind of looked like a shoulder-to-shoulder hit on the initial point of impact, so I'm going to go with a separated shoulder or something like that. That would really be the only thing that I could see that would be an arm injury that would knock him out for the regular season.
Mm-hmm.
It's apparently not serious. I think they're just keeping him out the next 2 weeks, so he is absolutely ready to go with the beginning of the playoffs. But everything I've been seeing with him, unless it's debating whether the hit was dirty or clean, was that this is not a serious injury. And it was released today that he will absolutely 100% be able to make it to the playoffs. So,
yeah, I mean, and when it kind of goes without being said, Toews is one of their key players. He's got 28 goals on the season with 40 assists, so that's going to be a huge hit to the offense if he does not return in time. But just by the nature of the injury and how they announced it, I don't foresee him missing too much of the playoffs if he misses any at all.
Right. It's yeah, that's the main thing that they're stressing, that it's not serious, that he's going to be back. It was a big update today, a big to-do about it, that he's going to be back. So,
yeah, and then moving on, another injury that's kind of been long drawn out that I still think could have an impact on going back to the Red Wings is Daniel Alfredsson. And I don't know, Detroit is just...
They're struggling.
Pardon the pun, but they're really hurting right now. I mean, when you look at how many people they've got on injury right now that are on their quote-unquote all-star lineup, it's not looking too promising in the postseason for them.
It's scary for them. It really is.
A wise man once told me, old people only get older, and the Red Wings just keep getting older. They need some new spice on that team. I mean, Alfredsson is 41 years old. I mean, he's an old man.
I would say 40's old for playing in the NHL. But you're right. I mean, I think with Detroit, they rely way too much on their, just like on the pure talent of these players, and they want to hold on to that a little bit too long. But yeah, some fresh faces, some, maybe younger legs to skate on would probably help them out. But I mean, hey, they have held their own and they have done very well with the talent that they have. It's just kind of unfortunate that these older players are getting injured and they're out longer, and I think age would have to be a factor in that.
Right, and moving along kind of out of injuries and into the right now, we have some games upcoming. Tonight, Boston has Detroit, Edmonton, Anaheim, Phoenix, and LA. The Blue Jackets have Philadelphia. Dallas, Carolina. Oh, those are Thursday. But tonight, the Islanders in Ottawa, Boston, Detroit, Edmonton, Anaheim, Phoenix, and Los Angeles for tonight. Anything interesting that you guys can see there?
Maybe Boston and Detroit.
That's what I was thinking.
That's really the only one that stands out to me, and maybe even Columbus and Philadelphia too.
I also know that the Kings against Phoenix tonight can clinch a playoff berth with any point. So that's obviously an interesting matchup to look at. You got to believe that the Kings are going to be playing hard tonight to try and clinch that spot.
And tomorrow, as we kind of got into a little bit, Columbus and Philadelphia, Dallas and Carolina. Boston plays again. They play Toronto, Calgary and Tampa Bay, Minnesota, Chicago, Buffalo, St. Louis, Pittsburgh, Winnipeg, the Rangers and the Avalanche, and the Kings and San Jose, a possible playoff matchup if the playoffs started today.
Oh, and here I thought I was excited to watch Columbus and Philadelphia. I'm going to have my eye on the Kings and Sharks matchup tomorrow night.
It'll be an interesting gauge of how things would go if that matchup actually happens.
Yeah, it'll be a nice
playoffs.
preview for the start of the playoffs in 2 weeks.
Is there anything else you are looking forward to tomorrow?
Maybe the Rangers in Colorado. I know they're in two different conferences, but just because both teams are already pretty much guaranteed to be in the playoffs, and they're both not really top contenders. They're kind of in the middle of the pack right now, so I just think it'll be a fun game to watch. Maybe not a whole lot riding on it, obviously, but just some good entertaining hockey I think will come out of that.
And coming up a little bit later this weekend, Friday and Saturday, show a lot of really great matchups. Some different things we're going to look at here. Buffalo, Detroit, Philadelphia, Boston, Nashville, and Anaheim. Predators, pretty hopeless right now as well. Dallas and Tampa Bay play on Saturday. Pittsburgh play the Wild on Saturday as well. The Kings, Vancouver. It's a lot of things going on this weekend, leading us into the playoffs.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting and exciting last 2 weeks of the regular season, I think, especially for the teams that everyone's going to be looking at once the playoffs actually do start.
I think my favorite games of the weekend, if I could pick three, would be on Saturday, Philly and Boston. I mean, that's definitely going to be a great game. And then moving on to Sunday, I think St. Louis and Chicago. That's got to just be a great game. But as we said, injuries, Kane and Taves, who knows? St. Louis, I think, only has Vladimir Tarasenko out with a hand injury, and that's their only injury across the board. So a pretty healthy team, and it shows. They're on fire. And also on Sunday, Pittsburgh and Colorado. Could be a good game.
Could be interesting. We are going to go ahead and take our last break before we move into our final, always interesting segment of the week. We are Katie, Daisy, and Jake. I was thinking that you were still Chris and got myself confused here. But we're going to go ahead and take our last break. If you're not following us on Twitter, you should be. We are at the Powerplay 14. We've been live tweeting our shows and getting into stuff like that on Twitter if you want to interact with us. But we will be right back with Jake.